Another presentational concept to keep in mind when you are developing your presentation is to think of alignment. Now, alignment could refer to a couple things. Alignment could be a single object and how it aligns on the canvas or the slide that you're presenting on. So I have a single object here, and if I move it around, it might be a little bit difficult to figure out where exactly it is totally aligned, but I have my guidelines here that can sort of help me, but I don't know always exactly how to get that. So I've got that there, but it took me a while. If I want it instant, I can just right click on it and go down to center on page, and I can hit horizontal, and then I can do the same thing and hit vertical, and now I have my circle right smack dab in the middle of my slide. Now if I put that back for a moment, I can then align this with the other objects here, and you can see how I get the guidelines when I do that. And so now I know I have a perfect square in relation to the four objects that appear on my screen. Now I can move and resize that square if I hit Shift key, and I can select multiple objects. Now by selecting multiple objects, I can then edit these objects or resize these objects all together so they'll keep the same proportions. So to do that, I want to make sure I hit the Shift key to keep the same proportions, and now I can just drag that corner of all four objects, and now I have the same proportions and they stay aligned in the square. So I can make multiple copies of this if I want and continue down through. Now let's say that I just jumble these up a little bit and they're completely out of line. Let's say I want to add a couple more circles. I can hit right click and you'll notice that I get some options here, but an option that is very nice if I just want to make a duplicate is I hit either Control or Command D, which means duplicate. And now I've duplicated my object, so I'm going to duplicate another one here, and I'm going to duplicate one more. Now they're all over the place, and one thing I would like to do is make sure that they're aligned and evenly spaced. So to do that, let's go ahead and take this square here and put it up in the corner, and then I'll take this square over here and put it up in this corner. Now in between these squares, I want everything to be on one line, aligned on the bottom of each object. So let's just go ahead and I grab and I hit Shift and I select all these different objects, and I right click on it and I come down here where it says align vertically. So I want to use a vertical predisposition here, and I want to say I want to add all of them to be on the bottom. Now they all go on the bottom. Now you'll notice that they all drop down to the most bottom object, which is not a big deal here yet. And if I want to make sure they have equal spacing between all of them, I right click and then I click on distribute, and I want to distribute evenly horizontally. So I click horizontally, and now you can see that in between each object you'll see a space, an equal space. Now if I want to put that back up to the top, I just make sure they're all still selected, and I drag it up, and now I have identified the alignment between each of the objects and made it even as well. If I want to make sure this is in the center, I can just make sure everything's selected, and I come down here and I can hit center on page and I say vertically, and now it's directly in the center of the page. Now also in alignment, you might want to concern yourself with what comes up top and what comes up on bottom. So let's say I want to have two circles or two squares, and they are overlapping a circle. So I'm going to make my circle big in order to fit these two squares. And you can see the circle, being the turquoise transparent circle that we made before, is over top these two squares. Now if I right click on the circle, I can send this to the back by going to order, and I hit send to back, and now the two squares appear in front of the circle. So I'll do that again. I can say I want this square to always be on top, and I order, bring to front, and you'll see that it doesn't change much because it's already up top. Now if I come back here, you can see that now this circle, this square is behind it. I click on the square again, order, and I bring to front, and this doesn't have much transparency to it, so it completely blocks the circle that was there before. Now I can continue readjusting these as I need, and you can see that I could take this and hit bring to front or bring forward in relation to the other things on the canvas, and I'll hit bring to front. So these are basically multiple resizing, duplicating single objects, aligning the bottoms, and also adding the overlapping layers all fit into the idea of alignment.